Okay, here we are back again with more Dragon Age Inquisition. We're just about to start Jaws of Hakon, the DLC, since I finished the main game in the last episode. First, I wanted to check in with Cole, because he has some interesting things to say.
But with your gift, I fear that you might see the path I now must walk in solitude forever. This fate is mine alone. Indeed, I would not wish it on an enemy. Much less someone that I once cared for. Though you reach out in compassion, I must now insist that you forget. I'm... What were we talking about? I'm ready to help people when you are.
So that's a thing that happened.
There are still people who need help. I'm ready.
Okay, Cole, that's great. So yeah, that... I actually really like. I've always really loved that little moment there from after the game, because it's so perfectly written. Of course, Patrick Weeks, I believe, wrote both Cole and Solas's lines. So he would probably know, but, you know, they obviously they speak in very different cadence and with a very different rhythm. In fact, they both often speak in verse, but they speak in very different kinds of verse. So I really love that little bit there because it is so obviously Solas speaking through Cole, right? Or speaking to Cole. It's just really, it's a really fun little thing there. Anyway, I'm gonna check the war table because we have to head to the, I believe it's called the Frostback Basin on this map. Let's see here. Yeah, I've got some more money to collect. I don't know if I have anything else going. No, it doesn't look like it.
So, Liliana, should I bow whenever you come into the room now?
The ceremony is not for a while.
It will be strange to see you and think, there walks divine Victoria.
Then let us enjoy these moments while they last, as colleagues.
Nor as friends?
What's this? A breach in decorum?
Perish the thought.
Oh, they're friends. It's good. I like it. Okay, so we have to investigate the Frostback Basin. To Ambassador Josephine Montelier, thank you so much for your earlier correspondence. I confess it's been difficult to get those in Orlais to take this discovery seriously in light of recent events, but I am positive that scouting the Frostback Basin will yield historic discoveries beneficial to both the academic field and the Inquisition.
You've styled your hair that way for ages now, Leliana. Why don't we do something new with it?
I'm used to the way it is.
What about our commander?
He does something with his hair already.
Oh, it does look very nice today.
I don't...
You mean it just gets that way on its own?
Not entirely.
I'm sure Dorian has provided him with some product. Anyway. As a staunch supporter, I am honored to be working in such great company on this historic occasion. Yours most sincerely, Professor Bram Kenric, University of Orlais. University of Orlais has vouched for Professor Kenric. If he says there is something worthwhile in Frostback Basin, we should investigate. Okay, let's do it then. We've scouted the region and set up camp. Professor Kenric has the scouts gathering anything they can find. So far, we've uncovered a lot of very old buckles. Hopefully, this yields something more exciting. Anyone who comes here should be ready for hostile wildlife and angry Avar. This place is dangerous. Scout Harding. Alright, cool. Let's do it. Gosh, I don't even know who I should take with me. For the first part, let's just do something like let's just do something like this. This is fine for the moment. I'll probably switch it up as we go forward. It's going to take a few episodes to get through this whole DLC. Obviously, this is a pretty meaty DLC in my experience. I can usually get a solid 6 to 8 hours out of it if you're, if you really take your time and you're super completionist about it.
Good to see you again, Inquisitor. Allow me to introduce Professor Bram Kenric. He's the reason we're out here.
A pleasure to meet you, Your Worship.
Professor Kenric teaches at the University of Orlais.
I came on an exchange program from Starkhaven. While in Val Royeaux, I've found something incredible. After 800 years, we may be able to determine the final resting place of the last Inquisitor.
Yeah, I think I probably studied him.
The texts say that Inquisitor Ameridan was a dragon hunter who vanished on his last expedition.
Yes, precisely. I see you've read Lautrec's Precursors to the Chantry.
Yes.
Inquisitor Ameridan stepped down shortly before the Nevarran Accord brought the Seekers of Truth into the Chantry. He hunted demons, dragons, and dangerous apostates in a time before Templars even existed.
I'm all for history if it means tracking down the equipment of a famous demon hunter.
This is a good cause.
If the last Inquisitor has been missing for 800 years, it's only fitting that today's Inquisition help find him.
Your scouts have gathered artifacts from the area. They may help us discover what Inquisitor Ameridan was doing.
I have news as well. We've encountered hostile Avar to the north. They call themselves the Jaws of Hakon. There's also an Avar hold to the east. Unlike the Jaws of Hakon, they've been friendly so far.
The Jaws of Hakon?
They're hostile Avar who attack any Inquisition agents or researchers who get close.
Okay.
We've sent soldiers for defense, but the Hakonites are cunning, merciless, and know the basin better than we do. I'm afraid our men will not be able to hold out long.
I thought we could catch up.
What's on your mind?
So, one of the things that this DLC does is actually give us a bunch of things to talk about with Scout Harding for once. So, tell me about the basin.
How do you like the Frostback Basin?
It's lovely, isn't it? At least until you step in a pile of bogfish or poo. The stuff's vile. It makes great fuel for starting fires, though, if you can tolerate the smell. I might suggest that to the commander. It could be great for sieges.
Cullen's way too boring.
The commander would never go for it. He's too dignified.
You mean uptight? Sorry, don't tell him I said that.
He's my boyfriend. Yeah, whatever.
What do you think about the Avar?
When I was a little girl, a lady in our village used to tell me Avar tales. Being able to see their lives up close, it's nothing like I thought. They're very tall, aren't they? I was considering a proposal for Commander Cullen. Avar allies with dwarven archers astride their shoulders. They'd be unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
They say you grew up in a village. Where did you learn how to fight? Draw a bow? All that?
Here and there. You pick things up as a little dwarf girl in a village filled with piggish Ferelden boys.
Oh boy.
I'm no artist with a blade. I just know what hurts and what takes them down quick. Bruised a shin or two in my day, and a few, other things. And archery? Oh, there was a traveling hunter who set me up with my first bow and taught me the basics. After that, I practiced on my own. On squirrels, mostly. Oh, and Heinrich from next door, but only with padded arrows.
I hope so. What do you think of Kenric?
Have you spoken to Kenric much?
A bit. He's quite nice, isn't he? And clever. Really loves his books. I said hello one day while he had his nose buried in a giant tome. His shriek was a winner. I can't stop doing it now. It's too funny.
We defeated Corypheus. I thought you'd have returned to your old life.
After everything I've seen, I don't think I could ever go back to my old life. Could you?
That's a fair question.
Just pretend. I can't just pretend I'm the same person. I got a letter from my mother. She was happy the breach was sealed. She had no idea what we went through. And I don't have the heart to tell her.
I hear you have family in Ferelden.
Yes, my mother and father. I insisted they move to Denerim once I signed up with the Inquisition. Ambassador Montilier tells me I should invite them to Skyhold. She thinks they'd be proud of me. But after Haven, I just can't, you know? It's not that I don't trust you or our soldiers. It's just... I just want them to be safe. And if that means they don't get to see things firsthand, that's okay. My mother likes writing letters anyway.
Okay.
We'll continue this another time.
See you soon, Inquisitor.
I believe, if I recall correctly, that if you haven't romanced anybody else by this point, I think you can do a little bit of a flirtation with Harding. So yeah. But, that's not what we're here to do today. Today, we are here to be nerds about history and Avar and a neatly penned note. Professor Bram Kenric, the requested supplies have been sent to your current location from the university, including additional ink, books on Ameridan, and 3 Divine Age buckles for purposes of comparison. And yes, upon your return, you may say I told you so in regards to my saying your collection was useless. Everything should arrive shortly after you. Of course, roads still aren't what they were. Also, I fed that fish, but I'm not talking to it for you. Professor Cheval Laurent, University of Orlais. Ew. A baffled note. A note affixed to a book entitled Sir Lothair Vernay de Ray's Victory and Dominion. Lady Harding, I could use the opinion of an expert. Though impressive, the victory outlined on the marked page could not have been achieved as stated, Bram Kenric. Sure it could, if you had enough apples, Harding. I really like Harding.
In the outdoors, you really do seem to like bad weather.
What's that now?
The other day, you were outside in the rain, staring up with a grin on your face.
I smile at clouds.
Of course you do.
What? I should hunch and swear at the rain pissing off my nose? Let the weather win? I smile the freak out of clouds. Maybe they get tired of trying.
Are we still talking about clouds?
What?
Never mind. Drinks and insults later?
We're both buying. Then there's double.
A letter to Harding. My darling Lace. I love that her name is Lace. I hope this letter finds you healthy and happy. Last week, I managed to barter for maps of Ferelden and Orlais from Hugin, the old soldier who rents the place on Mistress Johan's farm. You remember him, don't you? Quiet man, always smoking a pipe in his chair on the porch. He wasn't using the maps anymore, so I gave him some of my jam and patched his coat in exchange for them. Now, whenever you tell me of your travels, I'll be able to track where you've been. I'm astounded, my darling, when I look at the weave of dotted trails I've already marked out on my maps. Oh, the places your feet have touched. How far you've gone, my little Lace. I am so, so proud of you. When I was your age, I'd only ever gone as far as Lothering. My mother never left Redcliffe, she lived and died there, and now here you are, flying so far with so much purpose. My mind can barely comprehend it, but my heart swells. I shan't take up too much of your time. I know how busy you are. I am looking at the frostbacks on the map as I write this because I know you will likely be at your Skyhold. Please make sure to dress warmly. I have included the recipe for your favorite turnip goat stew. A taste of home to stave off the cold mountain airs. Kisses and hugs from me and your father. Aw, that's so cute. Harding's parents are really cute. Like, that's super, super cute. I'm super glad that somebody has decent parents in Thedas. That's one of my problems. It's one of my problems with a lot of fiction is that a lot of fictional heroes' parents are just terrible. So it's really fun when a fictional character like that just has great parents. Okay. Let's go up here and read this other thing. Property of Colette. Pages of neatly written, painstakingly detailed notes fill a well-worn journal. The notes break midway through for a list. Expedition to Frostback Basin. Preparations. Reread Finding Ameridan. Complete. Review notes on appropriate excavation methods, complete. Practiced categorization of minute material artifacts, complete. Read book on Frostback Basin, complete. Practice camping, complete. Note, bring a pillow. Reread An Anatomy of Various Terrible Beasts, complete. Learn to fence, cannot find willing instructor. Ask brothers for fencing defense lessons, bad idea. Read book on survival and defense, complete. Bring towels, packed. A few idle swirls follow, along with a tiny sketch of an elf defending a stack of papers from various terrible beasts. The caption reads, "Fieldwork." Somebody's not happy with their field assignment. What do we got here? Inquisitor Ameridan. Oh, here's some interesting stuff. So this is some nice backstory. What is known about Inquisitor Ameridan would barely fill a page. He was a friend of Emperor Draken. He was Inquisitor when the Seekers of Truth folded themselves into the Chantry as part of the Nevarran Accord, their order serving as precursor to the Order of Templars and the Circle of Magi. Shortly after the accord was signed between 122 and 124 Divine, Ameridan left his position and departed, never to be seen again. These facts alone are undisputed. Everything else is uncorroborated hearsay, broad speculation, or salacious rumor-mongering. Ameridan did not willingly cede power. Draken forced the Seekers of Truth to disband upon pain of death, then removed the Inquisitor rather than suffer rebellion in the new Chantry's ranks. Ameridan was forced to retire due to the still young Chantry's restrictions requiring celibacy, as he was involved in a relationship with a mysterious lady mage that the Chantry erased from history. Ameridan was a rowdy noble who cared more for raucous entertainment than for the Seekers. He held the position only because Draken wanted a loyal friend commanding the order, and when the Seekers became part of the Chantry, Ameridan was free to retire to a life of hunting dragons and wenching. Any of these stories may be true, and without more evidence, we have little hope of ever reaching a clear determination. Nevertheless, I would offer a few notes that are often overlooked as scholars delve so deeply into their own historical specialties as to lose key context. Firstly, Emperor Draken, rightly acknowledged as the man who molded the Chantry into the organization it is today, was a pious man, committed to spreading the chant of light and creating a world where magic and men were governed by Andrastian principles. All sources agree that Ameridan was a close friend of Draken, and while it is certainly possible that Ameridan was more pragmatic than pious, it is highly unlikely that Draken would have befriended a figure who was actively opposed to the Chantry, much less tolerated such a man holding a position of power in the growing Orlesian Empire. Secondly, Inquisitor Ameridan was universally acclaimed as a powerful combatant, regardless of his supposed faith or lack thereof. Rumor-mongers suggesting Ameridan was exiled ask us to believe that Emperor Draken could see no use for a powerful warrior with years of command experience. Given that the Second Blight had been a fact of Orlesian life for more than 15 years at the time of Ameridan's disappearance, with darkspawn pouring from the Anderfels into northern Orlais in growing numbers, it is frankly absurd to suggest Draken would casually dispose of such a military asset. Without further evidence, we may never know more about Ameridan's departure. Nevertheless, I hope that we may eschew the currently popular cynicism, at least when obvious evidence against it is presented, to see that his disappearance must have had some other cause. From Finding Ameridan by Professor Bram Kenric. So sounds like Professor Kenric is a little bit nerdy about Ameridan, which that's fair. Also, I really like the way that these historical things are written in universe, because it's fun, and also it's highly suggestive of the way that historical academic works are written in real life. As someone who has spent some time in academia and has done some historical stuff, it's actually pretty accurate to the kinds of methodologies that are actually used by real historians. Questions of accuracy. Of course, I don't always read all of these, but these are all pretty relevant to the subject matter of the DLC. So, that moved against them were halted by the light from her most assured hands. It was then she took her own counsel in ways best not set forth here and led the party away. Did Ameridan's eyes seek hers among those assembled as he relayed the events which led them there? If she stood among us, I did not know her. Yet his hand moved slightly at his side, as my own does when my wife is near, and I seek wordless comfort in the touch of her fingers. We had all heard the whispers. Did he say her name in the telling? Would he have dared? Times were different, but have they changed so much? Excerpt from the writings of Lord Bescon, first put to the page in 148 Divine. A letter follows. Kenric. This is a precise copy. The preceding pages were lost or removed ages ago. Bescon makes no further references to this woman, although Ameridan comes up several times later on. Bescon's writings, as they pertain to Inquisitor Ameridan, are not entirely unknown, although you're unlikely to find them among Chantry records. Their validity is largely dismissed. Some have questioned whether the so-called Light and Council reference magic or holy insight. And of course, Bescon wrote down his impressions many years after the fact. The author's own wife brought accuracy into question when she admitted her husband was recalling his youth in the Orlesian capital through nostalgia and age-distorted memory. I believe her admission is part of official Chantry record. Best of luck. So, there's some question as to who exactly Ameridan was, what he was, and, whether he had a lady mage as a lover, which is interesting. Alright, so let's actually talk to this guy. What you got for me? That's really cute. You're cute.
People brought back a number of artifacts.
Okay, yeah, she's a very good scout.
If you need something tracked, Scout Harding is your woman.
If only it were that easy. After 800 years, we can't just look for tracks.
Okay.
Barring enchantment, cloth and leather will have long since rotted away. Only metal and stone remain recognizable. Complicating this are recent pieces the Avar left behind, and of course ancient pieces dating back to Tevinter. Fortunately, thanks to some period-specific buckling, I've been able to track our last Inquisitor.
Period-specific buckling?
You lost me at buckling.
You'd think that a buckle was a buckle. But ever since people started belting on weapons, they've been adding bits. One piece here has a dragon engraving. With the alloys of the metals used, it's clearly Tevinter. While this one uses a clasp that wasn't invented until the dawn of the Orlesian Empire. And when it comes to historical research, you might say we have to buckle down.
I love you.
You said there were pieces dating back to Tevinter.
Yes, while it's rare to see Tevinter ruins so far south, the Imperium once had an outpost of some sort here. They might have built it as a ritual site. I'm not sure what military value it could have. In any event, it's muddled up the research slightly, but I've accounted for it.
Okay, so what have you found?
What do you have, Professor?
Everything so far points to the shore not far to the south. There was some sort of battle near the shoreline. They were in a hurry. The scouts reported an island near an Avar fishing camp, but the Avar won't say much about it.
Alright, so there was a battle.
What makes you think the last Inquisitor was fighting?
There's a clasp here common to armorlings. It's clearly torn. That only happens from a heavy shearing blow, like large claws or an axe. Then there's the dagger. Silverite, with a stylized dragon pommel and an inscription reading Cordilis.
Huh.
That dagger had to be a gift from Cordilis Dracon.
Yeah.
First Emperor of Orlais. No one would just lose such a thing.
Fair. That's fair. Especially somebody who's supposedly so close to Draken himself. They were like besties, right? So tell me of the fishing camp.
What can you tell me about the Avar fishing camp?
Not much. It's the friendly Avar, not these jaws of Hakon barbarians. According to the scouts, they wouldn't say much about the area. Likely a local superstition.
Alright.
I'll find a way to that island and see if there's anything useful there.
Excellent. I'll continue to study what's been found. With luck, we'll both find some answers. Also, one of my research assistants, Colette, was investigating an old structure to the north. I'm not certain it's related to our investigation, but it couldn't hurt to check with her.
Sure. I can do that. There's lots of things that I can probably do for you.
May I borrow it when you're done?
Of course.
you mark the pages by bending the corners?
Oh, I won't.
I always dog-ear my books. I'm the worst. I do not treat books with very much reverence, I have to admit. So yeah, this DLC is probably, in some ways, it's the meatiest DLC. It's literally just, this, obviously we have a new region on our hands here. And that region includes Fade Rifts, and it includes camps to find, and it includes shards and regions and stuff. Like, it's, you know, it's a little bit of everything. There's resources, so yeah, I see Arbor Blessing. So, that's what I mean, you know, you can easily spend like 6 or 8 hours doing this DLC, because, yeah, it's a whole new region to the game, and it's a pretty big region, Frostback Basin. There's quite a bit here, a lot of content, which I like. Oh my god, it's a fear demon. Alright. Stop running away from me, Despair Demon. Come on. Ay, ay, ay.
If you were still a seeker, would you drag me to one of your circles?
I'm not still a seeker.
But you'd do it, even though I'm incredibly charming.
Yes, I would absolutely drag you there, without question.
Well, that's good to know. Cassandra. She probably wouldn't drag me there, though. To be fair, though, Nadia has already spent most of her life in a circle, so dragging her to one would probably be unnecessary. I'm just gonna sort of go. Let's see, this is Jaws of Hakon thing. I mean, I'm gonna just head in the general direction of the next camp, the nearest camp. I find that to be a good strategy. Broadly applicable.
The veil is wobbly here.
Perhaps a bit wobbly instead.
What? Let me check. Sensing... Sensey... Definitely wobbly.
Okay. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate the update. Too bad Solus is no longer around to appreciate it. That's one of the main downsides of doing the DLC after you finish the main quest line of the game, of course, is that Solus is no longer in your party. He's gone. You can't get him back. There's no way to get him back to your party. So, like, if you want, like, Solus banter... if you want Solus's banter, as you run around in the DLC, then, you need to do it, you know, obviously before... before you finish the rest of the game. I think we've got some of these hack-on types over here.
Kill the Inquisitor! Death to her hold for Hakon's glory!
These jaws of Hakon demanded your death.
They
What
did.
do they have against us?
Perhaps the friendlier Avar in the village Harding mentioned can shed some light.
Yeah, sure, we can try that. Let's set camp first, though. Wait a second. First of all... Must be below me, inside the cave, probably. What a surprise. I went to the wrong place. That's fine. That's fine, I'm in no rush. Let's see here. Mouth of Echoes. The savages speak to their gods in the cave passage. They call it the Mouth of Echoes. They light fires and feed them with green spruce and shout their questions into the deep. They say answers come to them on the last whispered echo. Superstition, we laughed. And now Razikael is silent and madness descends. I can only think, what if? What if there are irregularities in the veil here? What if we could secure the Avar cave and bend it to our purposes? The slaves are gathering materials. We will build a shrine to the Dragon of Mystery, implant foci into the walls, cut sacred designs into the stone, the better to hear her with. We will hear her voice again, or we will die. Scribbled in blood-red ink on parchment found in the Mouth of Echoes. That's creepy. Super creepy, guys. A faint inscription found in Frostback Basin. If this be our last together, let it end in laughter, Atho. At what cost? From an aged journal found in Frostback Basin. It still tastes strange, no matter. Several water-stained pages follow before the text resumes. Have we traveled through lands more remote than these? We must have, yet I've never felt so removed from life back home as I do now. T makes the same arguments as always, though adds a lack of demons as a point in her favor. Lack isn't absence, which I was quick to point out. She called me Pythe. There are demons here, though not as many as we faced in those early years together. The Avar have their mages too. The last were ill-prepared for me. I wonder if that's the part that bothers her. O, as always, was no help at all. We push on. My head aches. The others are singing the song we learned at that lakeside town. I forget the name of the place. I think my eyes are about to explode. Of course, A has noticed and tells the others he needs to read something. It's quiet now. The journey here took longer than expected. I must take stock of the rations, after sleep. There were more than expected. Everything has been more than expected. A few moments later, and O would not be standing here. I was able to subdue the mage before things became worse. T said nothing about it afterwards. She knows O would have died. At what cost? T asked me that once. I said it costs nothing, but I don't know. I met a man who'd fought longer than I, but his mind had faded with age, and he could not answer. The point remains that I can do more. I can be more effective. We've all seen the demons, what they did. We've seen what some would do with blood. The better question is, who pays the cost if no one takes this chance? And no one said it has to be forever, just until things are settled. If you count 8 times, will the number change? O asks. She's been watching me these last few days, whatever she says to the contrary. Damned blue bottles, I did not plan this journey as well as I should. I lay trying to find constellations through the leaves. T brought me some water. She just smiled, and there was no admonishment behind it. It made me feel somewhat better. As always, A cooked our dinner while deriding my own ability to produce something edible. O attempts to tell jokes. Maker, they're pathetic. Why do they make me laugh anyway? Long days behind. I fear there are fewer ahead. Whatever costs I've paid, they will be worth it. It doesn't matter. This night, safe beside a fire, the 3 of them singing that stupid song, I am content. Sounds like somebody was a protagonist in their own game and had their own party at one point. Alrighty, cool. We've got a spellbinder here. It's yes. Oh boy. Okay. Sorry, my cat's starting to get funky. Are we good? I lost half my party, but, we seem to be okay now. Sorry, my cat... I got a little distracted there. My cat decided to mess with stuff, of course. Like you do. I think I'm gonna actually head back to the camp, and we'll probably leave it here for this episode. No. Right, okay. We should be good. As always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Later.